Welcome to another episode of Focus Garage. I'm inside Brad's garage again, and we're working on the Fiero. And you can see the Focus in the background just lurking. What we're going to do today is we're going to replace the fuel tank in it. We're going to put the refurbished tank that's refurbished by Brad in there because the other tank that's in it is dented. We did remove it. I'll show you guys the tank in a bit. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the wiring. We're gonna get the wiring ready, and Rod just showed up just in time. And then also get the fuel lines in. So that's what we're gonna do today. We already got the car started in the last episodes. You can remember on the black car. We're doing the final wiring. So we're trying to figure out the pinning for the fuel pump, the starter and all that stuff, so we can use the Fiero's wiring harness for some of this stuff, such as the starter, fuel pump, and that's it, right?
Yeah, so the yellow starter wire from the ignition all the way through the harness, we're gonna hook that up, not to a relay actually, because if we go into a relay, sorry, we're arguing, you can cut this part out. If we go into a relay, it doesn't need a relay into the ECU. We can put a relay after.
Okay.
But we don't really need that wire because it's right there.
Okay.
So, anyway, sorry.
So we're using half of the Saab, power stuff, and half of it from the Fiero. We're just like creating a Frankenstein here. But we're gonna get this car started today from inside the car. That's the goal. Not from this thing right here that we started before.
Just fine.
We're going to do it from the car, and we're actually going to install the gas paddle wire as well, so we can give it a little bit of gas from the inside the cab. So I'm gonna. That would be difficult. We'll see. I don't know. I have that as a. It's okay. But anyway. What we have done, I'll show you guys what we have done. So here's the fuel lines that we're going to use. So these are the Saab 900 fuel lines. We are using the Saab 900 fuel rail. So we're going to take these off and put some 3/8 and 5/16 fuel hoses that will go into that tank. This is the refurbished tank, and that's the tank that was like removed from the car. So inside this tank is, we just closed it, but it's clean. There's no rust except right here, but there's no rust in this tank. It's perfect. So that's what we're gonna use for the race, and that's gonna go into the street car over there. It's a little bit rusty, and it does have a dent on it. It's surface rust, nothing major. So that should be fine. Yeah. So we're gonna prepare the. Oh, also the sending unit. If anyone is curious, if anyone is replacing a sending unit on a Fiero, the one that we got is completely different than the one that was on the OEM one. So on the OEM one is this one is the feed, and this one is the return, and this one is the vent. So in this is the feed, this is the return, and this is the vent. So just make sure that you have that correct orientation, or you won't get anything.
Ready?
Oh, stop!
If you're scared. Ready? Oh, yeah, let me prime the pump first.
Dead battery. today what we're gonna do is Brad is gonna tackle the cage. There are some spots that are not correctly welded, so that's what he's gonna do, because if he doesn't do that, it won't pass tack. That means the car is not safe. So we want to make sure that all that is done correctly. The next thing, while he's doing that, I'm gonna be doing the cooling hoses. So you guys remember from the last episode, we did install the bigger radiator. So we're gonna run the cooling hoses to the engine. We're gonna do some, we're gonna replace the cooling hoses with the new ones. So we are all set to go. We don't have to, worry about it later on in the track. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. And then maybe the battery box and the battery cable for the battery, for the engine. So let me show you guys the hoses. So currently this is the stage. That's the battery box that's gonna go right here. We prep the surface. That's gonna be done while after we're done with the cage. So we already did the right corner right here, and then the driver's side bottom corner, and the passenger side upper corner. So Brad needs to do the passenger side bottom corner. That's not welded correctly, and then go over here, and then we need to do the fronts as well. So after he's done with that, he's gonna weld the battery box so we can run the battery cables and the switch, kill switch for the car. We have all that laid out ready. You can see the battery cable sticking out. So that all is gonna run into the back of the car. So these are the hoses, the old ones. We're gonna replace this. We're gonna leave the aluminum piping there because that's already been installed in the car and it's working properly. We might just bleed that later on, put some water through the system, make sure there's no garbage in it so it's not stuck in our engine. And then we're gonna find a spot for the expansion tank. Here's the OEM one, but I think we're gonna put one more in the back, that corner right there for the engine. I don't think this is a good system right here. That might be a better system there right by the engine.
Yeah, so typically these cars have a problem with bleeding air out of the system. And it's really a question of what the highest point in the system is. The Saab never has those problems. So this style is more of the just sort of a catch tank for what bleeds off of the
Cap?
The radiator cap. Whereas the Saab, the tank actually is sitting over here. The tank is actually part of the pressurized cooling system. So it this might be no, this is the right one. So it actually has a hose that if you need to bleed it, you just kind of open the cap, and when it hits an air bubble, it just pushes it back up into here. So it's really, really straightforward. This is supposed to come off the radiator instead. A little bit better system, and it has a level sensor in it, so we'll know when we're
out of coolant.
A little low on coolant. So we'll also be putting a pressure sensor in here. That's a really good one to have. It's a really nice quick warning for when when one of your hoses blows off or explodes. So putting one of those on there and having a big light in front of the driver is a really, really good way to save an engine instead of just
running it to the ground.
Running it, yeah. Because as a lot of people know, when you blow a radiator hose off and you dump all the coolant out, the temperature sensor in the engine doesn't have, air is not conductive, so that air will not heat up the sensor, and it'll just tell you everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
Everything is fine.
So let's get to work. We'll record some of Brad's beautiful welds, and then we'll record some of my pipe bending. Then we'll move on. All right, so go ahead, Brad.
Two more of those stupid pole handles for doors.
You could do that. Anyway, so the front of the coolant hoses are done. What we have here is the temperature sensor right here. So that's going to be triggering our fan right here. So we're going to have a relay circuit when the relay triggers, pulls the 12 volt and turns on the fan, so we don't have to mess around with switches over there. People forget to do the switches, and they either run the car without the fan or let the fan running when the car is not running kill the battery. So we don't want any of that. We're just gonna let the good old relay circuit to handle this situation. So we have this hose right here, and we have the other hose going in to the car. So we are technically done here, except no, that's also connected. So I was just looking at this is also connected, so we're done in the front of the car. What we're going to do is we're going to move on to the back of the car. That's going to be all tricky because this is basically all Fiero, no drama. You can order the parts online and all that stuff, slap it on, go racing. Over there is going to be more custom stuff. We have some Saab parts, we have some Fiero parts. We're going to make it work with what we have and try to figure out if we need to order new ones or not, maybe like come up with custom ones. But Brett over there, let's check out what Brett is doing and let him explain his situation. Also, we removed the doors because they were really sharp.
Yeah, so the guy only welded about half. Sorry, I'm yelling ahead.
Go ahead, yell, yeah.
So we only welded halfway around. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting out pieces of what's probably crash structure, but not really that big of a deal. So this is the frame, and then there's an outside piece of the frame too. These are actually pretty safe cars. What I'm doing is I just got done with the Sawzall. I tried to get a slice under there so I can smash this open. And the whole goal here, this is off, so you're all good here, is to give myself enough clearance to get the gun in and weld all the way around. So as soon as I'm done, I'm going to take a plasma cutter and cut these welds, and then I'll get a new plate. This guy used 2-piece plates, which is also not as strong as a single piece. So probably going to do like 4 by like 6 and change. I think 24, 25 inches is recommended or required in lemons.
So that's what you have done here.
Yeah, I used the 4-inch so I could use as much of the frame rail as I possibly could weld to. This guy welded a lot to this base frame, which is not quite, I think this is part of the crash structure, but this is the frame here of the car, frame. So it's slightly thicker.
It's all space frame.
It's all space frame, but it's a little bit thicker here. So I'm going to probably do that, and I'll slide the plate in, get the full 360 weld, and then weld the plate in after. It's a little bit better. But first I have to cut out all the dumb stuff that this guy did, because he only welded barely 50%. So the last thing I want to do is have a car that's not safe for anybody to drive. So.
Yeah. All right. I will move on to the back of the car. Oh yeah, we also removed the back and the top because we need to get in here and finish up the welds there. So we kind of did it over there on that side, and we're gonna do it over here, and then we're gonna do the fronts. So yeah, and we have 2 hoses coming in here. One of them is this one, and the other one is, I believe, somewhere over there, so I need to figure that one out. But our coolant situation is here. There's a manifold here, and there might be one over there for the heater core. Not sure. Well, I'll take it. Oh, that's where the water pump is, so there might be something over there. But there's the main manifold is right here for the water. So I will show you what I have done. There's one hose. It's already, this is the Fiero one that goes right in here. So that's really good. We have 2 more. So we need 1 return for the radiator, and we need 2 for the heater core, because we are using the heater core to get heat in the front windshield, so it's not, foggy and stuff like that.
Alternatively, if we choose not to do that, we can get the. It's basically a wire you glue on. That it looks exactly like a rear.
Oh yeah,
defrost.
they use it in European cars. I have seen it. My car, Ford Focus ST, does have that option. Only in Europe though, not in the US.
So I forget what they're called, but some that have-
Defrost? Oh, the aftermarket version of it?
Yeah, aftermarket electric defrost.
I think since we don't have AC, that's the heat is not going to work by itself. So, all right. Let's talk about the situation. So we are removing humidity out of the air to get the front windshield not foggy. So when you turn on your defrost on the front windshield, your AC kicks on. It doesn't matter heat or cold, your AC kicks on.
AC to condensate the air.
Take the make the air drier. So if you don't have AC, blowing hot heat is not gonna.
Usually in the races, just like blowing any air on the windshield helps a little bit. Do exactly.
It does help a little bit. It takes a really long time to do it, rather than having a clear windshield in like matter of minutes, rather than tens of thousands of minutes.
But yeah, the electric ones, they work.
Yeah, I think
it's probably the right thing to do. Considering
I think that's what we should do because we have no dash.
Yeah, this stuff is like present, but probably not functional.
Yeah. But that car was functional, wasn't it, Brad?
The radio turned on.
Yeah, so
it only plays 80s music for
80s music for some reason.
I don't know why.
And Brad starts growing a mullet. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was like some hairband shit. I don't know what happened.
All right, let's get to work and finish this up.